All right, today we're going to break down a simple promise that can carry the full weight of the law, the promissory note. We're going to figure out what separates a casual IOU from a document you can actually take to court.
You know, we've all done it, right? Scribbled "I owe you" on a piece of paper. But what happens when that simple promise actually needs to, hold up? Well, that's when it has to transform from a casual note into a powerful, legally binding instrument.
So here's what we're covering. First, what exactly is a promissory note? Then, what are the essential ingredients? We'll look at some common mistakes, cover one very special rule you can't break, and finally, why one little detail makes all the difference.
Okay, let's dive right in. What's the magic formula that turns a simple written promise into a formal, enforceable promissory note? So here it is, the official legal definition from the Negotiable Instruments Act. Let's break that down into plain English. It has to be in writing. The promise to pay has to be absolute, no ifs or buts. It needs a signature, and this is key. It has to be for a specific amount of money.
And check this out. This is what all that legal language looks like in the wild. You can see all the key parts we just talked about. The clear promise, a specific amount, a date, who's paying and who's getting paid, and of course, that all-important signature. This is basically our blueprint.
All right, now that we've seen one, let's really break down that blueprint. What are the absolute must-have ingredients for valid promissory note?
Think of this as your legal checklist. Seriously, if even one of these things is missing or messed up, the whole note could be challenged or maybe even thrown out in court. Every single one is a big deal.
And here's something that might surprise you. When the law says "in writing," it's actually really flexible. Our sources say it can be pen, pencil, printed. You could even write it on a piece of cloth. As long as it's a physical, real document, it counts.
So what really matters here? It all comes down to intent. The signature doesn't have to be your perfect cursive. It could be a thumbprint or even just an X, as long as you make that mark with the intention of saying, yes, I agree to this. That's what the law recognizes.
Okay, enough with the theory. Let's get to the fun part. What not to do. Our sources give us some fantastic examples of common pitfalls that can make a promissory note totally worthless.
All right, take a look at this one. I promise to pay after I marry G. So, based on that checklist we just went through, what do you think? Is this a valid note?
The answer is a big, fat no. This promise fails one of the most important tests.
And here's exactly why. The payment is conditional. It depends on a marriage happening. And well, that might not happen. Remember, a valid promissory note has to be an absolute no-strings-attached promise to pay.
Okay, let's try another one. What about this? A promise to pay 500 rupees and a black horse. Seems pretty specific, right?
But nope, this one is invalid too. It breaks another one of our core rules.
See, the law is super strict about this. A promissory note is for money, and only money. The value has to be clear and stated in currency, so no horses, no bags of rice, no other items, period.
Now, let's talk about a very specific and really crucial restriction. Because while you can promise to pay in a lot of ways, there's one promise that's reserved for a much higher power.
And this isn't just a rule to make a note valid. This is a matter of law, and it's there to protect the foundation of our entire currency system.
This is the phrase you absolutely have to avoid. Payable on demand to the bearer. It basically means whoever is physically holding the paper can get paid anytime. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
That's because it is familiar. A note like that is basically currency. It's cash. And only the Reserve Bank of India gets to issue that. Letting any of us do it would be like letting us print our own money. So, let's say you've done everything right. Your promise is in writing, it's unconditional, it's for money only, and you've signed it. You're almost there, but there's one final, super critical step to make sure your promise can actually be enforced.
This is it, stamping. Under the Indian Stamp Act, a promissory note has to be properly stamped. It might seem like a tiny detail, but trust me, it is everything. It's what gives the document its real teeth in the eyes of the law.
And let's be totally clear about what this means. If you ever have to go to court to enforce the promise, an unstamped note won't even be allowed as evidence. The judge won't even look at it. Without that stamp, your perfectly written promise is legally powerless.
And there you have it, our deep dive into the promissory note.
We've gone from a simple IOU scribbled on a napkin all the way to a powerful legal document. So, the next time your promise to pay is on the line, you'll know exactly what it takes to make it truly binding.